Okay, is she recording? Is she on? I think she's on. Welcome. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Jamarty4 here once again, here for another animated horror story video, you guys. I know it's been so long since I put the last video out, but I was having some technical difficulties, and then things with my job happened, other projects I was working on, so I had to put a quick little, pin in this. But we back. We're not gonna let it be too long. So I want to thank y'all so much for, being patient with me. I want to get a couple of announcements out the way before we begin, so I can, get it out the way. As many of you may not know, my birthday is coming up. My birthday is on November the 4th, and I will be turning the big 3-0. I will be 30. Jesus. So I know a couple people who are aware have been asking me what they can do, for my birthday, what they want to give me. I'll tell you this. I actually started a GoFundMe because those of you who may be on my platform who don't follow my friend Scotty, Scotty is Scotty by Nature TV. We do a weekly podcast, a weekly YouTube stream on his channel, Scotty by Nature TV, and I started a GoFundMe to get me a new MacBook computer. Okay, and the link will be in the bottom if you want to donate anything. I'm trying to donate or get up to 1,200 or at least maybe a minimum of 1,000 so I can get me a brand new laptop so we can edit our up and coming podcast together, which I'm so excited for, you guys. We would have had this podcast out a long time ago, but COVID-19 happened. And we already have the artwork, we already have the name, but we didn't want to release anything until the first episode was released. So if you guys want to give me anything for my birthday, the link for the GoFundMe will be in the description below. I want to thank any and everybody for any contribution that they have. I know we're living through a really tough time right now, but anything that you have that you're willing to donate, I would greatly appreciate it, even if it's just a happy birthday in the comments. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this story. Now, also, I'll say this one last part in relation to this. Because this is spooky season, okay, for Halloween, I'm gonna make sure I schedule this before, my trip, because I'm gonna be out of town for my birthday. I'm gonna see if I can do this. Okay, a 2 hour long video of animated horror stories. May even be three, depending on how I feel that day. But I'm gonna give you guys like a super episode for Halloween. So I think that'd be a great idea as a way for me to sort of give back to you guys. And my dog is in my face right now. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for being patient and supportive of me. So now we can get to the video. So this is called Nightmare Tales, and this my son saw something disturbing on our pet camera, and I chose this one because this one's 19 minutes long. So this means this is going to be like a full, drawn out, like full-fledged story. What? My dog is sitting here staring at me. I don't know what he wants. But I'm excited, so let's go ahead and get into it, child. I done blabbered for almost 5 minutes. Do you want to come up on the bed and watch the video with me? Is that what you want? Shit. God damn. So this is Rufus, everybody. For those who've been following me for a long time, y'all are really familiar with this big, fluffy face. He wants to come up and watch the video with me, apparently. So I'm gonna let him sit here during the recording. I hope y'all don't mind. Ain't that right? Okay.
It was the sound of my son's voice that woke me. Maddie was shaking my arm, mumbling the same thing over and over. His voice sounded tired, but urgent. "Dad! Dad!" I shifted and opened my eyes. The bedroom around me was dark. A slither of moonlight leaked in from the skylight on the landing, enough to pick out Maddie's silhouette at my bedside. I tried to rub the sleep from my eyes as I pushed myself up on one arm. What is it, mate? What's going on?" "Dad, you have to come. I saw something." What do you mean? What time is it? I reached over to the bedside table and tapped my phone, bringing the screen to life. 2:48 a.m. My head still felt jumbled from sleep, and the half memory of some dream I'd been having ran through my mind like fog. Something unpleasant. I tried to grab onto the memory, but couldn't. Did you have a nightmare, buddy? Was that it? No, I mean, yes, but it wasn't in the nightmare that I saw the thing, Dad. It was after I woke up. I woke up and Hang on, wait a minute. Maddie's face was half hidden in the shadows. I reached out and held his arm. Tell me what happened. Slowly, mate. And start from the beginning. What was this nightmare you had? If I'm honest, I only asked the question to try and calm Maddie down, help him get his thoughts in order. I didn't really need to ask it though, because I already knew the answer. The poor kid's been having the same bad dream ever since his mum and I split up, ever since she moved out a couple of months back. Grace left me for some rich guy she works with.
Damn. Shit. Damn, mama, you ain't shit. Mama says she went and got the D and the bag. That's fucked up. Don't y'all be. See, this is. Never mind. I ain't about to go too far into that. But you know what? I'm glad that, he's being supportive of his son because, child, I don't remember ever really having like really bad night. You know what? I lied. I had one bad nightmare that my mom will still tease me about to this day. It was something, for those of y'all who are young enough or old enough to know or remember, there was this show called Angry Beavers in the past. And I couldn't tell you what the episode was. They were watching some horror film, and there was like a hairy eyeball on the screen. And for some reason, that picture stuck in my head, and I used to see that hairy eyeball on the side of my bed every time. And I told my mom about it, and she started to make fun of my ass. But it's fine. But that's like the only real nightmare I can remember from my childhood.
And she took our son with her. Stuck me with the dog and an empty house. I suppose I should count myself lucky I still have those. But if I'm honest, it's hard to see a silver lining at the moment. And it's especially hard when I see the toll this whole thing is taking on Matty. The kids started wetting the bed again. Hadn't done it in years, but now Grace says it's almost a nightly thing. He'll wake in the early hours, sometimes screaming, and his sheets will be soaked through. Grace isn't exaggerating either. The poor kid's done the same thing almost every weekend he's been to visit me.
I'm like, okay, now, I don't know if I need to get you like an adult diaper or something, but I'm not about to be taking and washing your pissy underwear. Well, not your pissy sheets and bed sheets every day. I mean, I guess you take there's certain things because it's your children, but damn, like, do I need to? Do you need to sleep with towels? Child, I don't know if I can be dealing with no daily bedwetter now. Maybe like once a week, but every day a pool of piss every night. We gonna have to stop. You can't drink water past 6 p.m. Shit.
Sodden pajamas, cries in the night, bags under his eyes at breakfast. When I ask him about it, he always says the same thing too, that he's been having bad dreams. The same bad dreams. A nightmare where he's lying in his bed, trapped, and the devil is standing outside his room, tapping on the window, trying to get in.
The devil is tapping, girl. The devil is tapping on my window. Oh, you might need a seance or something.
His mother and I broke up, and now the kid sees Satan whenever he shuts his eyes. Like he's in hell. I'm no therapist, but I don't need a qualification to know how badly we've messed him up. To him, the world really is ending. All of these thoughts and memories whirled through my tired head as Maddie stood over me, pajamas still ruffled from sleep. You can probably guess what conclusion I came to. That's when the kid said he'd seen something. It was all part of his nightmare, bad dreams blurring into real life. But what he said a moment later made me pause.
Yeah, yeah, y'all already see it coming. It's this damn ad, child. So y'all know I will pause and be back. Okay, we back. Now I remember a young lady had mentioned in the comments how I could fast forward the video and get through the ads. I tried that once and it didn't work. I don't know, maybe if I did something wrong, but I still had ads in the midst. But be that as it may, we can just move around them, child.
It's nothing to do with my nightmare, Dad, Maddie shuffled on the spot, rubbing one arm. It was something I saw in the kitchen. I think someone might be down there. Somewhere on the ground floor of the house, as if to prove Maddie's point, I heard a soft creaking sound. Maddie stiffened, but I didn't pay it any attention. My house is like any other Victorian property. Now and again, it creaks. Floorboards expanding, pipes in the wall, the neighbours. If you jumped at every little sound, you'd be constantly on edge. I was also busy running what Maddie had told me back through my head, trying to make sense of it.
I would be the same type. Anytime I hear any foreign sounds like that, I can't be in a house that sounds like that on the daily because I need to know to be able to decipher when it's something that's normal and something that's not. Like, nah, I need to be able to know when something's wrong. I can't be just hearing shit just for the sake of hearing shit.
It was something I saw in the kitchen. It took me a moment, but then I got there. The pet camera. That had to be it. A month or so after Grace and I split, in an effort to cheer Matty up on one of his weekend visits, I bought a little camera for the kitchen. One you can link up to an app on your phone. The camera sits in a little tower on the floor, and the idea is you can tune into it to keep an eye on whatever your pet is up to. Our dog, Bella, is about the only thing that can still bring a smile to Maddie's face these days, so I figured he'd like to be able to check up on her, watch her snuffling around in my kitchen, even when he's at his mum's new place. The little tower even stores dog treats inside it, which you can fire out of a little launcher by touching a button on your phone screen. Maddie loves it. As I pushed myself into a sitting position, the conclusion I'd already come to was this. Maddie had woken from his bad dream, and he'd struggled to get back to sleep. So to calm himself down, he'd opened the PetCam app on his phone. Maybe he'd decided to watch Bella for a little while. The camera has a night vision mode, so he'd still have been able to see her. Obviously, it hadn't worked, and I thought I knew why. The night vision mode on that app is creepy. Everything looks odd. The picture is all grey and green, like in a horror film. No wonder it had made the kid even more spooked than he already was. Look, mate, I tried to speak slowly and make my voice as reassuring as possible. I'm sure it's probably nothing. I'm guessing you mean you saw something on Bella's pet camera, right? You saw something on your phone just now? Matty nodded his head. Right, okay. Well, trust me. I've looked at the app at night before too, and I'm not surprised it freaked you out. Everything looks all shadowy and green, right? Like some creepy Twilight world. And if you saw Bella down there, her eyes were probably shining in a weird way and... No. Maddie's voice cut across mine. Bella was asleep, Dad. She was in her basket. My son glanced away from me in the direction of the open bedroom door, out towards the moonlit landing beyond. When he next spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. It wasn't Bella's eyes,
Ooh.
and it wasn't the weird light. It was the shadow, Dad. I saw a shadow go past the camera, like something had moved in front of it and blocked the view. I opened my mouth to respond, but that was when the noise came. Not just a creak this time either, a sudden, sharp crash from the direction of the kitchen.
Alrighty then. Thank you, my boy, for giving me this proper warning. Um, Go ahead and call the police. Get a weapon, hopefully, preferably some sort of blunt object, because the good thing about these stories, when somebody comes into my house, is unless they change from state to state, is that I have all jurisdiction to kill you if you have forcibly entered my home. So I hope this person came prepared because I'm coming prepared.
The stairs creaked
Uh,
softly below my feet. I crept
I like him. I like him. He's rational and he's picking up a weapon. I like to see it.
down them as slowly as I could, willing them not to make a sound. It didn't work. The wood is old and noisy. Even in bare feet, I couldn't keep my steps silent. I was wearing only a t-shirt and boxers at this point, but my hands were full. Before I'd left Maddie in my bedroom, I made sure to pick up the baseball bat that I keep propped in the corner, just in case.
Good.
If Maddie had seen someone down there, a burglar for instance, I didn't want to meet them empty-handed. But even with the crashing noise I'd heard a moment before, I still wasn't convinced. Was my heart rate up a little higher as I worked my way downstairs? Sure it was. Was my grip on the baseball bat a little sweaty despite the cold? Absolutely. But that was the only adrenaline working through me. A natural, albeit irrational response to creeping around the house in the middle of the night. If pushed at that point, I still would have told you that the noise was probably nothing. Bella knocking a chair over, most likely. And the shadow Maddie had seen on the camera? Probably just the poor kid's overtired imagination. A hangover from the nightmare he'd had. The thing is, Maddie's sensitive. I know he is. After he started wetting the bed, Grace took him to see the doctor, and we managed to get him referred to a counselor, someone to help him work through our separation. Both Grace and I speak to her regularly now that Maddie's having his sessions, and one of the first things she told me was how susceptible the kid is. I can still remember the exact words she used. Some children are far more emotionally vulnerable than others, Mr. Norton. Far more at risk to big changes. Maddie's mind is like a sponge. If he's happy, it can fill up with so much excitement he'll be fit to burst. But if he's unhappy, he'll feel it. He lets stuff in more easily than other children. He lets stuff in more easily than other children. That was the phrase that stuck out to me. I suppose being in tune with your emotions is a good thing, but when I heard the counselor come out with that one, it didn't feel good. It filled me with worry and guilt.
This is kind of like a story on how divorce kind of affects a young child's life. And I mean, mind you, my parents divorced as well. But when my parents divorced, I was what, turning 17, or I had just turned 17, so I was pretty much, an adult, and I didn't. It wasn't really much of a phase. I was gonna be leaving the house within the next year anyway, so I mean, let them live their life. But when you're a kid and you got to bounce back between your parents' house, and it's not fun. I wouldn't, put that on a child. But let me go ahead and get through this ad, child. We'll be back. All right, we back.
I kept thinking about Maddie's
Ooh,
recurring nightmare, the devil waiting outside his window at night,
uh-uh.
trying to get in. He's let something in all right, I remember thinking after I'd met with the counselor.
Please don't open your eye.
Poor little
Oh.
guy's in hell because of us. With these thoughts still running through my head, I reached the bottom of the staircase.
Okay, so really quick, was it just me? Because I was still afraid of the dark for a very long time, especially as a child. And I had a two-story house growing up. Was I the only one who used to, like, when it became time when you're like done doing anything downstairs and you have to turn all the lights off because your parents would yell at you if you left a light on downstairs, and you got to go upstairs, and you turn that last light off and you would run as fast as you can, because it was dark as hell downstairs and you wanted to get upstairs before whatever goop goblin was down there that you imagined was gonna get you? Was it only me? Because and even like when you would have to go back downstairs, you would try to find the nearest light so you could see. Because like what he's doing right now is triggering. Because that little dark this little dark hallway right here, ain't no telling what's back there. I'm looking for the next lights because I don't know what's down there, especially if he's with this situation he in now. Girl, I'll be terrified.
Paused and strained my ears. The house around me was silent. No sound from Maddie upstairs, and no sound from the kitchen at the end of the hallway. If Bella had knocked something over, she'd obviously settled back down again now. She wasn't making a peep. I thought about switching on
Is
the
she
downstairs
okay?
light, then thought better of it. Somehow, it didn't feel like the right thing to do, even though the door to the kitchen was shut. Any light I switched on would spill straight beneath the doorway. If anyone was in the kitchen, they'd know I was coming. "There's no one in the kitchen," a voice in my mind shot back. "Don't be an idiot. You're as bad as the kid, getting yourself worked up over nothing." The voice was right, and I knew it. But nevertheless, I still felt my hands tightening around the baseball bat as I started along the hallway.
Good.
Just a little, just to be on the safe side. Halfway to the kitchen, another floorboard creaked beneath my foot. I froze in a pool of moonlight, strained my ears once again. The only sound I could hear was my own heartbeat. It sounded far too loud.
Let me tell you this. I know one thing. They better not set this up like this, given all these eerie details and this buildup of tension, only for there to be nothing there. There better be some goobly goblin on the other side of this door. I'm gonna be mad as hell if it's not.
Bang, bang, banging in my chest like a trapped animal. I rubbed my eyes, and I felt sweat on my fingertips. Forced myself to take another step towards the closed kitchen door. And then another. It was almost within reach now, close enough to open. All I had to do was reach out a hand, turn the knob, and push. "So why don't you then?" whispered the voice in my mind. "Stop messing around and get it done, so you can go back to bed." Riding a wave of sudden frustration at myself, I stepped forwards and gripped the doorknob, twisted and shoved. The door creaked inwards and I felt myself tense, tightening my grip on the baseball bat. Something was wrong in the kitchen. I knew that straight away. Something was wrong, but at first I didn't know what it was. I could hardly see a thing. Weak streetlight shone through the windows at the back of the house, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to push the darkness away. It was enough for me to make out shapes though, objects hiding in the shadows. I could see the outline of the fridge on my left, humming away softly, and beyond it the little dining table. On the floor by that table was a chair on its side, and a thought, that must have been what the crashing sound was, flashed quickly across my mind. It must have been Bella after all, I told myself. She must have knocked the chair over and... Bella. The thought of my dog was what triggered the first realization. The first realization of what was wrong. Whenever I walk into the kitchen normally, Bella is there to greet me. She's always there to greet me. Even if she's not ready and waiting on the other side, the first sound I hear when I open the door is her claws scrabbling against the kitchen tiles. Only now, standing in the kitchen doorway, I couldn't hear her. I
Mm-mm.
couldn't hear anything. And a moment later, as my eyes adjusted to the kitchen's darkness, I saw why.
Oh, and then the ad go. I hate these ads. Okay, so we're back. I tried to make sure I paused it and got the recording before he saw whatever the hell he saw. Okay. All right. Girl, I'm nervous. Cause I'm the child. All right, let's just do it.
Bella was sitting in the middle of the floor,
Huh?
perfectly still, facing away from me. Her eyes glinted in the darkness like glass beads, staring at something I couldn't see. Bella, what's up, girl? I took a step forwards into the kitchen and shivered. That was when I realized the other thing that was wrong. The room was cold. Not chilly like rooms at the back of a house often can be either. I mean, it was cold. It felt like I was stepping into a freezer. I felt a draft of icy air brush by my right side. And when I turned in that direction, I saw what had caused the drop in temperature. The back door was standing open, wide open. The darkness beyond it stared back at me like an eye. Over in the middle of the room, Bella began to growl. A deep, low
Uh. Child, listen. Dogs be knowing. They know usually when people are welcome in their house and when they're not welcome. And they feel that way about, energy about people too. So if your dog is growling at somebody, it probably is for a good reason. I am afraid.
rumble. I turned back to her, but I was about to step further into the kitchen. A voice stopped me. Don't.
What?
Stay away. I let out a yelp and spun around. Maddie stood in the moonlit hallway behind me, his pajamas hanging off him like a sheet. As I stared at him, he lifted his arm and pointed a trembling finger in Bella's direction.
What?
Don't touch her. Please. It's too late.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He's already inside. I could feel fear filling me up.
What? I'm suspecting you now, child. What are you talking about?
Then, something close to dread, and because I didn't know what to do or say next, I did the thing that was most automatic to me. I flicked on the kitchen light.
Oh, Lord. I mean, at this point, fair, because the dog is growling. The kid up here talking about he's seeing shit. Don't do it. It's too late. He's already in the house. My door's open. I need to see something at this point, child. Shit. I'm scared of what this next frame is, y'all. Cause child, I'm doing this at night for some reason to myself.
The room instantly filled with a yellow glow. It should have helped. It should have put a stop to the terror building in my chest. It should have ended the nonsense right there and then.
But
When you're scared in the dark, turning on the light is supposed to make everything better. It's supposed to banish the fear and the unknown and the shadows. But this time, it didn't.
what you mean it didn't, sir? What the fuck you? What are you looking at, child? Y'all doing? I ain't even got no more water to calm my nerves.
I told you, Dad. Maddie's voice was a cracked whisper behind me. I told you he wanted to get in. I
What?
didn't respond.
What?
I couldn't. In that moment, when the harsh overhead lights lit up the kitchen, I could only focus on two things.
What?
The first was Bella's eyes. Those eyes stared blindly back at me, rolled so far up in my dog's head that all I could see were the whites.
What?
That was bad. But it wasn't the worst thing. The worst thing was the kitchen floor. The marks I could see on it, running along the tiles. The trail that led from the open back door to the spot in the middle of the room where Bella sat, unmoving. Not human footprints, but the damp, cloven
Oh, girl.
tread of goat hooves.
Oh, this bitch is possessed. Shoot it. Beat it. Bella has to go. Bella has to go. That thing is possessed. Ain't nobody got time. That's it. Child. Child. Y'all needed to explain that shit a little bit more. Y'all needed to explain that just a tad bit more. Whatever, girl. Anyways, we are here at the 30-minute mark. Thank y'all again so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoy it. We're gonna try to get back on our schedule, y'all. So now that I have, my computer isn't. Well, hold on. Is it? Hold on. Let me check. Because because this shit cuts off again, I'm gonna be mad as hell. Do I have? I'll work it out. We ain't gonna overheat next time. But thank y'all again so much for watching. Make sure you guys check the GoFundMe link in the description below if you want to support and donate something for my birthday. Oh, excuse me. Again, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.